Hey guys, welcome. Hope you had a good weekend. I didn't stream yesterday. I was exhausted from just from a busy Sunday, a good Sunday. Taught and preached twice, and we had a good week. Low attendance, but it was still a good week. And I wanted to give a quick update. I did get a little bit done yesterday, and I've done a little bit more this morning on Congregation Hub. And I just wanted to kind of show where I'm coming from and what I'm thinking as I'm doing this. So I'm going to jump into here to my Excalibur here. And I am going to explain one of the things that I am thinking about. Okay. So a big part of building a software project like this is just thinking through every little bit. So I am trying to show how that works. So the big problem that I am trying to solve is what happens when somebody signs up. When a church signs up for Congregation Hub, several things have to happen in order for it to work for them. And it needs to be as smooth an experience as it possibly can be. So that church, first and foremost, needs to import people. They need to find a way to get their people from, whether it's the system that they're using right now, if they're using another product, or if they're just storing their people in a database, storing their people in an Excel file, storing their people in, just like the contacts app on their phone. However they're storing their people, we have to get the people, that list, into Congregation Hub, and that's a heavy lift. And so the first thing that I have sort of figured out is that I want to use a tool called Flatfile to do that. I'm trying to use as few external tools as possible, but this is one of those areas where it's such a complicated thing that it just makes way more sense for me to pull from another tool for this. The price is right, and it just makes more sense. And so I am using this tool called Flatfile. So let me show you where we're at. Okay, so I'm going to go to my site here, and I'm going to log in. What is going on there? I got to figure out what's going on with that. That doesn't look right. But let me go to my email and log in. All right, so here is what I have figured out. I figured out that I need to have some kind of a wizard that shows automatically when people are not set up yet, when a church is not set up right. And the first thing that they need to see is they need to be prompted to import people. I'm going to get to some of this other stuff here in a second. But I think this is really, really cool. I'm super excited about this. So look, I can click this import people button, and it uses this app, Flatfile. That's what this is down here. And I can either upload a file, so I can go and I can grab an Excel file, or I can grab an SVG that's exported from another tool. If you have your people in another tool, I can grab that. I'll just give you an example here. So here's me importing from this other tool. Okay, so it's going to ask me to map the fields, age, joined on, departments. All right, this is just example data, email. All right, so I've got this stuff here. All right, age group, it's trying to automatically guess this age group. So this AA, we have no idea what that is. So we'll just say 20s. Okay. All right. Now, notice this right here. This is cool. This is saying, hey, a last name is required here. So we got to have a last name. There's so many cool things about this. All right. This by the way, isn't working right here. But let's say that I go in here and I say, all right, I'm going to have 2 Craig Johnsons. Did I spell that right? 2 Craig Johnsons, and that should be that should have done something that it didn't do. Let's try here. Let's say Mary example.com. Okay, so here's some validation that it's saying this is not unique. These two, you can only have one email per person. So just to show you, the only two things that are required when you import this data, I mean, there's tons of stuff that you can import, but the only two things that are going to be required are going to be first name and last name. If you want them to be able to access the site, of course, they need to have an email. So we're going to make sure that that's unique. But the only two things that are required. And then this tool just does a really good job of figuring out, helping with different validation things, and it should make importing people way, way easier. So I'm excited about that. That's the first thing I wanted to show you. Second thing, I'm gonna exit this here. The second thing is you're gonna have to do is groups. Okay, so this is what I'm working on now, the groups, and then the third thing will be importing your services or setting up your services, setting up your groups. So this is what I'm working towards as the setup flow. You have to set up your groups, you have to set up your services, and then you should be off to the races. A couple things that I think are kind of cool here. So I have this set so that these illustrations here match the color that you pick, which this to me is just awesome. I picked this obnoxious fuchsia color on the dark screen. It looks good too, but you can pick whatever color you want for your church, and these illustrations are going to match. Just a subtle little thing, but like, I love it. It's such a cool thing to me. And that goes across the board. Also, I love the way that this is set up to work. It's not even fully fledged here, but after the people are added, this will turn to a check mark, and it just should be really friendly. I want this to be I want this to be something that like is not super intimidating to people when they sign up and they jump in. I want it to be simple and easy for my users. So excited about that. What was the other thing? Oh, I found these images here on this site called Undraw. They are open source illustrations. You can use them for whatever you want. And I don't love all of these pictures, and they would not all be appropriate for what we're doing, but there's enough on here that are just pretty cool that I can tweak. And then I figured out how to add them into my file in Laravel, and then to isolate that one blue color and change it to the color that's picked by the user. So I'm going to be using these a lot throughout the application. And then one of the things I was working on was changing the register page so that we're using these illustrations as well. And so I am going to be dropping these in all over the place to kind of give this friendly kind of feel to the application. All right, so what's next? The next thing I have to do, so this is, I'm still working on the people. I'll probably be working on this people importer all week. It's super important. It's literally the first thing that people have to do and the biggest lift that people have to do to sign up for the app. The second thing that I'm going to be working on this week is on this groups page. So if I go to this groups, I got to figure this out, how to import the groups. On the current version of Congregation Hub, which actually I'm not going to go and show you because it's got real people's data in it. But on the current version of Congregation Hub, I kind of like the way that works. But I'm using a different way of doing front-end tech on here. I'm using something called Hotwired. It's made by the people that make Basecamp, and I have to learn how that works to make these tables and anything that's like interactive on a page. I got to figure out how that works. And so that's going to be kind of my job this week, is learning Hotwired better, learning how it's called turbo frames, how those work, and designing this group importer. If I can get this people thing done and this group importer done by the end of this week, I'm going to be super happy with my progress on this new version of Congregation Hub. And I think it's going to make this so much easier for people to use. That's really my goal here. My goal is that this becomes a tool that's just a huge blessing for churches, and that they are able to use it, that it's not intimidating for regular churches, that it's simpler than anything out there, and that just makes people makes churches better and makes pastors better. And so that's what I'm working towards. So thanks for jumping in, watching my update. I try to do one of these just about every weekday and show the progress. So if you're interested, maybe subscribe, hop back on, watch my next one that I post tomorrow, and leave a comment if you have any ideas. I really would appreciate it.